I pride myself on making sure my projects are done first before I launch them because I want people to get what I created quickly. I don't like when people have to sit and wait super long because I don't like to wait super long on books that I like to back.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Panels on Pages. My name is Dalibor Zujovic. I am the indie hype man, and I'm back. Episode 66, back for the first time since about a year ago. The move here has taken a long time. It's still sort of ongoing. The setup is, anyway. But a creator reached out. They wanted to talk about their new book, so here we are. Enjoy my conversation with DeWayne Dority. Welcome to Panels on Pages. Thank you for joining me and re-ushering in the era of the indie hype man back onto the internet. I'm back and I'm here to promote indie creators such as yourself. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
My name is DeWayne Dority. I am the creator of Lake Comics. I am a former college football player, just a guy who decided to get back into art after dropping it when I was 18. So it took me, what, 15 years to get back into art. So I'm just doing what I love. I love football and I love art. So I just got right back into it and just publishing some books and just getting out my, branded characters.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I saw your the new pre-launch page here for oh, I forgot the name already. I closed it.
It's okay. It's Shape Master.
Shape Master, yeah. I like the summary of it though, is the importance of colors and shapes in a kind of a wacky universe. So like give me a little bit more about that. Let's pitch the book to people.
Yeah, my son, he actually has autism and he loves Dr. Seuss and he loves Coco Melon and Goo Goo on, those little channels for children. And so it's my first hop into children's books. And Dr. Seuss has been literally a big influence on my son. So when I made Shape Master, I just want to make a book that was simple, but just have a awesome and unique character inside the book that, taught kids about shapes and just, colors and stuff like that. And I had this process in 2019, when things were going on. And so I have the original artwork of these characters. And it's just been so cool to finally, put Shape Master together, just my first ever children's book with all the characters I've had, stashed away for the past 5 years. So it's just awesome. It's literally just a basic, simple, rhyming. I wanted to have my own take in like the children's book, genre. So it's just awesome. It's just what 20 pages, got the covers and stuff, so it's pretty awesome. I have original posters. All this is drawn and lettered and everything by me, so I'm pretty proud of it. Shape Master has been sitting around, and I just can't wait for people to see it because there's a lot of cool things that people are going to get out of it. I have a lot of cool rewards for people when the Kickstarter launches.
That's great. That's great. And I mean, that's a great market to get into for sure as well, because kids comics are kind of what's maintaining the industry these days. They always say,
Yeah,
the highest sales are in the scholastic books. So that's definitely a great market to get into. And
yeah.
I think we need, for the kids, we need something to keep the kids reading, to get them reading. That's like my favorite thing when I go to a comic shop and I see somebody bring their kid in for the first time and they're picking out their first comic. They just like, it lights me up, and that's so cool to see, because like we need the kids to be participating and to have something that's accessible to them at any age level is the most important thing.
Yeah, exactly. Because kids, they're going to grow up and they're going to, be the new, generation that's getting into comics and getting into movies and getting into, writing books and stuff. So, to be able to be an independent creator and just put out my ideas out there could make a child, come up with their own ideas. And then later on in life, they can be like me and create their own books that they love and the characters that they created when they were little. So it's just a cycle that's going to just hopefully inspire other kids when they see my, books and my artwork.
Definitely, definitely. So what are your like inspirations? Who are the creators and the books that really got you to be like, man, I really want to do this? And then what really got you back into it? Like what convinced you to like put pen to paper, pencil to paper, and put out your own book?
Oh, when I watched Dragon Ball Z for the first time, Akira Toriyama, when I saw that Frieza and Goku Super Saiyan fight, oh man, that got me into art instantly because I love just the way that fight scene happened. It was like what, four or five, six parts. It was like next time, and it's like I want to see the whole fight. And it was the first fight I ever recorded on a VHS tape, which is crazy.
That's cool.
But I had a VHS tape, and just when I saw that fight with Goku and Frieza, I had to record it, and my dad still has a tape to this day. And so after that, Spawn, the animated series, got me into art even more because I love that. I know it was rated R for kids, but whenever I was able to sneak downstairs and watch it on HBO when it did air, I'd watch it. And then my dad, like I said, he had VHS tapes. So there's another show, I think it's an 80s show. It was called Techno Man. And I love just that show, the way it was,
Oh
the intro
my, you
music.
are the first person I've had on to bring up Techno Man besides
Yeah.
me. I
When
love
Slade,
Techno Man.
yeah, when Slade said techno power, oh, I love the transformation. Even the narrator is like, Slade turns into this, yeah, awesome character with this awesome white robotic humanoid suit. And he's just killing those lobster monster looking things. It was just awesome to see that. And I only had a couple episodes recorded on that VHS. So the couple episodes I watched like the first and second and third episode. And then there was Bumpy from Bump in the Night was on there. And there was a couple other shows I can't remember offhand, but there's a lot of Reboot was on there, and Ultraman was on there, which was pretty awesome. So I had some stuff that my dad recorded that got me into art and got me into comics and stuff, which was pretty cool. So and then X-Men the animated series was another one. So mostly like animated stuff that I saw on TV is what mostly got me inspired. So I didn't get into comics until later on in my life, and I have got mostly independent comic creators books because I love the independent stuff. So Nomads by Ryan Tavares, his stuff is awesome. I love Nomads, that independent stuff. His volumes, I got them all. So just that, just Techno Man, stuff like that. Just really the '90s stuff got me into wanting to do my own stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love hearing that because I'm a process junkie. So like I love to hear how people get into it, how people grow through their process. So that's I mean like that's a unique journey because most people will, say, "Oh, I started with this TV show or whatever, and then I bought the comics and I really dug into the comics." But for you, it sounds like it was a lot of animation first.
Yeah, yeah, it absolutely was because I was raised in a low income house, so I didn't really have the chance to go out and buy stuff. So whatever my dad had on hand, I always like picked on his VHSs and just put them in and see what was on them. And most of them were just cartoons and stuff that he recorded when I was a baby. So it was just awesome to be able to watch that, and it's been stuck in my head for forever. So just to be able to use that as inspiration for some of my books has been awesome. Just to let people know that Techno Man is one of the best animated shows ever, and whoever hasn't watched it definitely needs to watch it. That just the intro music alone is perfection.
I mean, to be fair though, everything out of the '90s had a great intro
Yeah, that
song.
is true.
Like
That is true.
there's not a bad intro song from the '90s. There's just not. Like late '80s into the '90s,
Yeah,
peak intro music. I will just start singing intro songs from the '90s. Like it just happens. Like I'll just be going around my day and it's like Sherlock Holmes in the 22nd century. Ridiculous,
yeah, that one was
ridiculous TV
awesome too.
show, but I love that show.
Sherlock in that series was just that's who the Sherlock needs to be from now on because he was just such a great character. Like just that Sherlock was just awesome, and I loved Watson. Just the quips he made in that show was pretty cool too.
And like having it being a kind of a cheesy cartoon, but having a really important character arc for
Yeah.
Holmes in the like refusing to accept this robot as his friend and then
Hmm.
eventually becoming like best friends with him. Like that's such a
Yeah.
great, it's a great show. Super underrated. People don't know about
Yeah.
it at all.
Yeah. So it's just like when you bring up shows like that, it's like, yeah, I remember watching those. I remember watching those. So I'm 33 now, so I'm like, yeah, I remember watching that.
I like to bring up Mighty Max a lot because I think Mighty Max is a rare example of a show that the way it's written is designed to make it infinitely rewatchable because it ends by essentially sending the character back to the beginning. And I don't
Yeah,
think I've
that's
ever
awesome.
seen a show that does that, especially not a cartoon.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's cool.
Yeah, animation is a big importance, I think, in the development of interest in this stuff, and that's why I personally like I get a little bit salty with like some of the more modern kid stuff because it feels
Yeah.
like it's really like they've done a disservice, I think, to kids in that
Yeah.
they've separated the like themes. They've gone really high and pushed that stuff up to like adults, and
Yeah.
the stuff for kids they've made real like kitty and like just real simple. And I think
Yeah.
you lose some of the importance of having some of those adult themes written well into like a kid's show. Like Gargoyles is always one of my big examples. Like
Yeah.
nowadays, that would be an adult animated show.
Yep. It's absolutely would.
You couldn't put this on primetime TV for kids
No.
because they'd be like, oh no, it's too serious. There's too much stuff going on. But it's like, yeah, but like that's where you learn all the important stuff. It's like
Yeah.
for the kid, it's like, oh, fucking gargoyles fighting cool explosions, right? But you're
Yeah.
learning, like X-Men. I rewatched the animated series recently, and I didn't realize like how really like entrenched it was in like civil rights, human rights, and like the like don't be like these hate people. Like it
Yeah.
really is like every 10 seconds is like, hey, remember these guys? These guys are bad guys. Like, and it just we don't have that anymore. Now it's like it's super, super simple kid stuff. And then it's like the next jump is like super serious, like grown up kind of themes.
Well, yeah, because companies now are just trying to get, meet their bottom line and get a dollar anywhere they can get it instead of, having people who actually want to sit and write these shows for kids or for adults. They just want to push out the quickest thing they can in the shortest amount of time. It kind of sucks because then most of the creativity that you could have put into the show is just gone because you just want to just put it out there for everyone to have. And I think you lose that, that whenever you want to be able to build something, if you just go out and just do it quickly without thinking about how it's going to impact you in the future, because if you want something done in the short term and it doesn't get successful, then you can't do anything in the long term. I think that's where a lot of companies are heading right now. They want to do everything short term, but they're not thinking of the long term impact it's going to have if it's not successful.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah. I mean, the biggest problem I think in society is that most of these corporations and people in charge are thinking about the bottom line. They're not thinking
Yeah.
about the actual impact of the work. They're not thinking about the actual creativity of it. It's something recently cropped up on like the author side of TikTok, and people were talking about how these major releases they're not as good as some of these indie self-published things, and people like can't reconcile that. And a lot of people's comment is, well, nowadays like these corporations don't care about the authors, and it's like realistically they never cared about the
Yeah.
authors. It just like they were the gatekeepers before, so they got to pick the best of the best. Now they sign essentially, not essentially whoever will take it, but like they kind of cherry pick a few people for whatever criteria they have that week, because I'm sure it changes
Yeah.
all the time. And then it's like these are the major traditionally published people, but it's like some of the stuff that comes out is like I've had people tell me that like, oh hey, this thing that came out, at Image. And I mean, obviously people always complain about Marvel and DC, so I can't. It's not even fair, I think, at that point. But it's like Image is itself sort of a gatekeeper, right? Like they have
Yeah.
submission guidelines. So like you'd think that everything coming out of Image is pretty solid. Maybe it's a genre that you don't like, maybe it's a theme that you don't like, but like the quality of the work is going to be pretty solid. And I've had a lot of people come to me. They're like, yeah, I bought into it. I bought the whole, bought the whole series. Like, meh, like kind of just meh. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, because they're buying it on name brand. They're buying it on like, oh, it's part of this TV deal, so they're getting the publication rights. So like, they're not really publishing for the sake of quality. They're publishing because they got a license deal. They want to make some money. That's what it's about. It's not.
Yeah. And that's what I love about independent comics is these all these artists who are on there, me included. We like to put out things that people may not have seen before and put all of our heart and effort and just love into what we create. And I have a lot of friends who have made amazing books that I have. I love indie comics. I love getting any
All of this
comics
is
that I
indie.
can.
All of this behind
Yeah.
me is indie.
Like there's a lot of amazing artists that, I think the big two, if they would, get out of their comfort zone of hiring their little circle of artists that they love and get some independent people in there, it might actually just revamp their whole, take on all their characters. Because independent comics, when people launch their product, their projects, they may not ever do it again. So it's like a book you may see once, and it's just like there's treasure troves of just great books that are on there that you've never seen before, and they might just have better stories in there and, better characters than, the big guys have. And so independent comics definitely, they just keep rising because there's so many great people who just put their heart and soul into what they create. And that's what gets me fired up when I have friends who are just like me, who say, I got a project coming and they want me to be a part of it, or they want to help me in one of my projects. And it's just like that type of support is what makes indie comics great.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's why I do what I do, right? I call myself the indie hype man because of that, because everything, like, I thought, 5 years ago when I started this whole thing, I was like, oh man, like I'm pretty deep into the, indie comic scene. And then, like, we all got stuck at home, so we were
Yeah.
online more. And I'm looking and I'm finding people, like I was finding people almost daily that have been at it 3, 4 issues, 12 issues in a couple instances. And I'm like, I don't know these people. I thought I was in. I thought I was like connected. I knew people. And I'm finding people that I had never heard of before that are on their third, fourth, fifth, seventh issue. And I'm like, crap, like I thought I was in, and I don't know. If I don't know, a lot of people don't know. So that's why I started the magazine. That's why I started the podcast, like doing it on TikTok and everything, because like I like talking about cool shit that I like. That's like just my general personality trait. So like, hey, why not also promote specifically like indie comics people? Because it's like there's so many, like you said, there's so many to choose from. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
variations on themes. There's so many different takes. I was talking to a friend of mine recently. I was trying to convince her to write a book, and she's like, no, like, I don't know that anyone wants to, read what I have to say. She's like, there's other, that she like gave her like, characteristics. And like, I'm like, yeah, sure. Other people are, half white, half Mexican, and a girl, and short. Sure, all of those things exist in other people, but like your lived experience is going to be different. You're going to have a different perspective because you learn different lessons at different points in your life. It all adds up. Like it's not any one set of criteria that makes a unique perspective. Like fat white dudes are a dime a fucking dozen, but I'm still doing my thing. I'm still writing my thing. Like nerdy fat guys who wear glasses. You're not rare. We're not unique. I'm not the first, and I'm not going to be the last. But like, I still do my thing because the way I come at it is I have a different cultural background. So like, I have all of these things that some people may not. And it just realistically, there are so many options. It's unlikely that you're going to come across everything.
Yeah.
People, when people talk about content creation, they're just like, oh, keep putting out as much as possible. Part of that is that not everyone's going to see every post. More often than not,
Yeah.
most of the people that follow you aren't even going to see every post. You're lucky if they see 1 out of 5 posts. And then that's why I think, we need 50 people with very similar but like slightly different perspectives on things to put their stuff out, because only one person might only see one of those people.
Yeah.
People might only come at, if it's local here or it's local in Denver or it's local, because let's say it just doesn't grow to a point where you can distribute, nationally. Well, then the
Yeah.
guy in Denver gets to see that story, but he's never going to see the Chicago story. And then the same
Yeah.
way, like the way I write is I do a lot of research. I wrote a book that I'm finishing editing on, and I did like hours, like Google Maps. Like I'm like, where is he going to be standing? Because I'm like, I want to get this right. And I'm talking about stuff, and I had a friend of mine read it. She's like, dude, I was there. She's like, I grew up around there. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm like, this is what I was looking for. This is exactly what I was looking for. And it's like, I'm going to bring it back to Chicago because I know Chicago the best. So like, I'm going to bring it back to Chicago in the second book. So I'll be able to talk about that even in more depth. So it's like, there's just these layers of people are going to resonate with these elements. But it's like, I spent probably 2 days researching Rio in Brazil. I've never been to Brazil. I may not ever go to Brazil. But like people from Brazil might like get that and be like, I do see like, because the way I did the story is they get on this highway, and when I was looking at the map, I was like, kind of weird that this highway just like cuts the beach off. So I had the character kind of commentate on that, like, oh, it kind of sucks that they could put this highway here to like prevent people from just walking to the beach. And it's like that might be an opinion someone has locally. They'll be reading that, they're like, look, he's right, like. Because like people resonate with different aspects and different elements of the things that you do. So it's like everybody should be like, if you have something in you, if you have a story to tell, tell that story. Whether it be video, photo, however you do it, tell that story. Because not everyone's gonna see it, and the people that do see it might need to see it. They might learn something from you that they just don't have yet. Like I feel like I've had moments where I didn't see that from other people. No one's ever told me about these like moments. Like people, like I've heard in like movies, but like real people don't always talk about like these moments of clarity. And I have had like two severe moments of clarity that I tell people about all the time because I'm like, I feel like nobody's told me about this stuff before. Maybe somebody just isn't talking about it. So I want to talk about like this moment where I realized I could write and tell stories and still do like a day job and pay the bills and
Yeah.
not have that have to be the same thing. Like if it grows to be it one day, sure, whatever. But like I can still do the thing I want to do, which is tell stories,
Exactly.
and I can just do the day job, pay the bill, whatever. And I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to bring it home with me. Like my weekend is my weekend. I don't think about work anymore. My
Yeah.
last job was rough because I worked from home and it's like it was all about shit that I liked. So it was about computers. And it's like I thought about it all the time. So I got to separate from that. And now being that I can just tell stories when I want, when I feel like it, it's great. It's a great feeling. So it's like having these
Yeah.
moments like, and this is a story that I want, I share because I want to inspire others.
Yeah. It's just like, when I was started to get back into art, my first project I was going to come back with was my Liar comic, based on my childhood, this demon character that I created. And it didn't fund. And I was upset. I was angry. I was frustrated because I had people on the project with me that, I thought had my back. They distanced themselves from me. And so I waited like a year or two. And then I tried to do Liar again and do it as a collaborative with another artist that fell through. And so I was just so frustrated. And then Sam from Cast the Craze, he had me on to talk about my Blood Sable and my, Liar comic that didn't fund. And when he had me on there, it was so awesome to see just the love and support that he showed over there, him and George Medina. And that's when everything just started just coming together. Like people started reaching out to me and just saying, "You're doing a great job on your book." And a bunch of artists kept saying, "Hey, here's how you can do better the next time." Independent artists that I, just from seeing me on the video when I was doing that Cast Craze podcast, they came out to me and were like, "Hey, man, here's how you can do better the next time. Here's things I've done that could probably help you in your next project." And just having that support on my side, little circle of the internet, it was so awesome. And I was able to put out my Crescent Blue comic and my first, just hero story, and it funded, and I was just blown away, just all the support that came from that because I was about to give up. I was like, you know what, maybe this art thing ain't for me anymore. I tried, I tried it's over. And then people just were like, got behind Crescent Blue, and it just shot a fire in me. And so now I have like 8 books sitting on the table that I've already completed that I just can't wait for people to get when I have the time to do my projects. So I have a couple of books already planned ahead of time, and I'm just proud that I didn't quit, and that there were people who were like, "Hey, I got your back." And it just when I did have the free time, because I take care of my wife and son because they're both disabled, so when I do have a couple hours of free time, I sit and draw and just do the best I can with that. So to just be able to just you know I'm thankful for the failures that I had because it pushed me to be where I'm at right now, able to just let people know I have more projects coming. So just the failure just set me up for success. I'm so grateful for that.
See, that's amazing, and I love to hear that you had those people reach out. That's been one of the biggest lessons to see in the indie space is so many people supporting each other.
Yeah.
I've I've mentioned stuff in passing, and then people hit me up like, hey. Here's some information. Here's my,
Yeah.
here's how I can help you. Here's how other people can help you. And that's why, like, that's a big part of what I do as well. Cause I want to connect people. Like when I see like, oh, you need an artist, you need an editor, like somebody
Yeah.
tells me they need an editor. I know who to send them to, they need a colorist. I know who to send them to, like, and then I collect that, that the Rolodex, if you will. And, I'm working on putting together something for the magazine and the website that's going to have kind of a index for people to go to.
I saw that website. Looks awesome, man. That's a great website.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, the next thing that I'm doing, and this is the first time I'm going to talk about it publicly. The next thing I'm doing is I'm going to go to a bunch of comic shops. I'm going to go through Chicago first, but I'm actually unrelated to comics, but I'm also doing a travel project for myself where I'm going to all 50 states and I'm going to visit a comic shop in every state. So I'm going to visit those. I'm creating a checklist, if you will. So I'm going to create as objective a list of questions as I can, like eliminate my opinion out of it. Is, is there an indie section? Is there a local artist section? Is it prominent? Like I'm going to have this list of questions that every shop I go into, I'm going to just fill out my little checklist. And then I'm going to put them on the site and I'm going to rank them based on those answers, like indie friendly comic shops, Catalyst friendly, like that, because that I feel like that's going to help. Because also I want to ask people is, do they do consignment? Because that's a big thing, right? Being able to walk in and say, hey, can I put my book on your shelf? Like I know a few shops in the Chicago area that do that, which is a great opportunity for people. Just to be able to put that, then you don't have to. Just like one more avenue of selling their stuff. If you could put 2, 3, 4, 5 books on a shelf, that just lets the organic people picking through stuff, looking through stuff, grab something, and then you don't have to worry about pitching that on a website, pitching that on a Kickstarter. Like it's just I like to give people the option as much as possible. That's why I like one of the biggest questions I ask comic shops always is, do you have an indie section? And I went to one that was a massive, like. I can't even describe how big this place was. I was like, damn, this is super cool. I walk in and the guy's like, nah, we don't really have any indie. He's like, we got like a little bit of image. He's like, that's kind of indie. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I know the image is kind of, thanks. Like, yeah. Do you think I'm asking without knowing that? Did you think that like, it was just like, it was a great moment, but it was like a massive shop, but like, obviously it was a business first. Like it very much felt like we're here to sell stuff. Like we have, the tchotchkes, the toys, the cards, everything kind of had its place. They had like a massive graphic novel section. Like, as far as like buying comics, it was a great spot. It was down in New Mexico. But like, as far as like an indie shop, that'd be a failing grade for me. You don't even have like a real indie section. Nah, can't do that. There's a great shop in Chicago. They do have an indie section, but it's at the back of the shop. That's not a great score. That's not a great score.
Yeah. If you come through Oklahoma, the best 2 places probably to search for indie comics might be in Tulsa and Oklahoma City. Those 2 are where most of the comic shops are at.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to talk. We'll have to talk separately because I gotta figure out something for Oklahoma because I gotta find all the places where I'm gonna go to, and because I'm trying to go to like cool places that aren't necessarily touristy. Some states don't have tourism, so like North Dakota, like who's what's the tourist destination in North Dakota? Like so like I want to go to cool places. I want to have like local eats if places are known for something. I want to have that. Gotta have that. I was just in Ohio, and they have something called Cincinnati chili. I'm going to describe it to you, and you're going to look at me weird. So it's on a bed of spaghetti, chili, onion, like it's chili with onions and cheese on a bed of spaghetti.
Might as well just call it spaghetti. It's not chili.
Right? It's just spaghetti, right?
It's just spaghetti.
I was expecting something different. I was expecting a different, like something spice or something to like different. I was like, this is just spaghetti with meat sauce, bro. Like this isn't chili. You can't call it chili.
They tried and failed. They tried.
But it's like a delicacy there. People just go. It's like there's a fast food chain, like local chain over there that's their thing. And I'm like, cool, I guess. If that's what you do, I'm not gonna be mad at this is your local thing. I'm not local, so
yeah. I mean, in Tulsa they'll probably have you go around seeing the huge Tulsa Driller statue and stuff like that. There's a couple of good restaurants in Tulsa for sure. There's a campus. Yeah, the campus, Oral Roberts University. People always like to tour that campus because oh my god, that thing. There's amazing, like a golden hospital right next to the college. and
Okay.
they have like the Seattle, the Seattle Tower. ORU has like that type, but it's made of mostly gold. ORU is pretty much gold and white. It looks like a castle instead of a college. It's pretty cool looking.
Put
It
that
was
on the
awesome to
list
always drive
here.
by it. Oh, the Gathering Place, yeah, that's a good one too to go to. When I take a stop and just have fun over there, the Gathering Place in Tulsa.
Put that on the list here.
Yeah, my wife's shouting to me. I'm waiting for her to tell me where's a good place to eat. She's from Jinx, Oklahoma, so she knows. Oh yeah, she likes the Peppers on Utica. It's right next to St. John. It's amazing. Peppers. It's amazing, like Mexican restaurant. It's really delicious. Oh yeah, and Riley's is a Vietnamese and great food over there. Riley's delicious food. The owner there is amazing. Just a great human being. So if you ever come to Tulsa, definitely try those two places and go by ORU. It's a great school.
Definitely, yeah. Got it on
Yeah,
the list. Appreciate that.
yeah,
That's that's part of the talking to people all over the world, all over the country. Like I like to hear the first person experience.
yeah.
Like I can tell you some cool stuff about the Chicago area, but like I don't know much outside of here. I haven't traveled until now, like this year,
Yeah.
really. So I'm just
Yeah.
finding the stuff.
Yeah. And like I said, the Golden Hospital, I don't know if my screen will show up, but here it is. I actually put the tower, the hospital,
Oh,
in
that's
my
cool.
story. Yeah. So it's in my Crescent Blue story. I decided to just, put a little piece of it in my book because when we were living in Tulsa, we planned to move back because of my wife's health situation. But we would always drive past ORU almost every single day. And that was like my favorite thing to look at with those towers. They're just huge and gold, and you can see reflections of it. It's pretty cool.
Fascinating. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So I was going to ask that the logo on your shirt, on your hoodie,
Yeah.
that's your logo, right?
Yeah, that's my Wake Comics logo. Yeah, I had it created back in I think 2015. Yeah, I originally had it just scribbled down, and then I finally got into Procreate and just made it a nice little banner. So that's what I got now. It's just a love note to me, my wife, and my son. The three of us. So it's Wake Comics. So I had it. When I was thinking of the design, kind of like a trident, but except when you turn it sideways, it says Comics of Wake Comics.
Nice.
So yeah, it was just and my favorite color is blue. So Crescent Blue had to be the first character I wanted to put out. With the awesome logo, he's pretty much my mascot for my world. And then my second book, Blood Sable, it's one of my popular characters. So I'm very thankful for that one. He might end up becoming my flagship character if all things go well because people loved his design and his creation. So Blood Sable's an awesome character. I made him for my son when he was just a baby. So my son will have something for me when I'm, long and gone. He'll have something to
That's
know that
awesome.
his dad loved him, and he, pretty much the kid that helped me create all my characters, pretty much. Yeah,
That's
and
fantastic.
I plan to have another children's book, Kevin and Bob Find Their Ducks. Made it for my son because he has a whole plethora of ducks, and he has two little aliens called Kevin and Bob. We named them, and he loves them, and they take care of his ducks. So we always like to tuck him into
That's
bed at
awesome.
night and stuff. So I made a little book for him as well. Pretty much, my son has inspired me to just do everything. He pretty much helped me get back into art.
That's
So
right. That's
yeah,
so great.
yeah.
You said you have like you said 8 books ready?
Well, I have. Well, here's one, two. Well, if my thing, because it keeps, I guess it's doing motion capture, but here's Kevin and Bob. Oh, 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 where am I at? Where am I at? Where am I at? Here we go. Oh, oh, I'm fading out. Yeah, but Kevin and Bob, I have Kevin and Bob right here. I have Shape Master, and I have Liar, and I have my Blood Sable book that's already published, and my Crescent Blue books that already published. I have the first two covers of Liar. I got like proofs of them because I wanted to see what they look like. I got them from Mix'em. Mix'em is great. I love using them. Great company to publish, my stories through. Have them print
I
through.
haven't heard of that one before.
Yeah, it's Mix'em Print. Yeah, they're
Okay.
they're an independent company. And it's crazy when I first started with them. Because I was kind of antsy about working with them because I heard people loved comics, Wellspring, and other people who publish like that. So I actually reached out to Mix'em, and they're great people. They're like, hey, tell me how I want my books, and they even recommended me, things to print my books because I sent them my, artwork. But they print high quality, amazing people that work there. They even email me, and let me know, hey, my stuff's coming in the mail, my shipping and everything. They give me tracking numbers so I can keep up
Okay.
with my packages. So yeah, they're great. They're great company. I recommend them if anybody wants to, get a quick book from their art. You can easily go into mix and print, they'll let you put in your files, and they'll even fit them to size, and you can get them. Usually the books, when I order them, it takes literally within a week or two to get here. So once I order them, so if I was to order them one Monday, I might get it by the next Monday. So they're
Oh,
pretty quick on shipping their stuff, which is pretty awesome.
that's a good turnaround. That's a good
Yeah,
turnaround.
they do. They
I know
do.
there's been, a lot of people have had,
Yeah.
delays and stuff. So a company
Yeah.
that's got good turnaround, that's important.
Yeah, and they pride themselves on doing that. Like I got a manga version of Crescent Blue, a little one, and I got a 5.5 by 8.5, and just I got a 6 by 9 Kevin and Bob. So all my books are different dimensions, so they do great. They have their sizing for all their stuff. So
Sure.
that's awesome to go in there, based on what you put your art in, they can easily fix it and get it, ready for print.
So with the kids book, are you keeping that closer to like a comic book format, like sizing wise, or is it more towards like the smaller kind of,
Yeah,
children's book, like
yeah, I'm
chapter
going to
book
try to keep
size?
it smaller because right now it's paperback. The paperback was, it's simple to print and get done. So, because hardback, oh man, children's hardback cut, that pricing on those books is
I've heard.
insane.
I've heard.
So yeah, the hardback covers for children's books, I don't know why they're so expensive. I guess it's because of the wood they got to chop down, or I guess the printing they have to put on the paper. I guess, but it's crazy. So yeah, I just wanted to print out a paperback version of the book first to see how it looked. And now, and when I got it, I realized I might need to do a little tweaks to some of the pages, because I like to go through my books and make sure they're really good. So, and it actually gave me time to redo some of the posters and stuff. So I have a lot of great, stuff for Shape Master. And there's going to be some awesome stretch goals for the campaign as well. So anybody who backs it, they're going to get some great stuff. So I'm pretty proud. There's a cool add-on for the book too, because Shape Masters, it's not a huge book, so I'm not going to try to penny pinch people you know for what they can afford. So I made sure that everything in Shape Master is affordable for anybody who wants to get it for their kids or for themselves, or put it in a library or whatever they want to do. So Shape Masters, 20 pages, and then I think Kevin and Bob is 16 pages, and then Liar is going to be 50 pages. That's my biggest book, and I plan to launch Liar in August, and that's 50
50. Is
pages.
that still going to be staple bound, or is that going to be perfect bound?
This one I have a staple bound, so I might do perfect because I like the way it looks, but I think the perfect bound will do better because it's a bigger book, it's a bigger story, so it might actually make the packaging a lot easier to do it
And is
like that.
that a standalone, or is that like a first issue of an ongoing series or a longer series?
Oh, Liar, he'll have more. I already have stories for him, but I wanted him to have his own standalone because I want to try to get people introduced into my world. So my decision was to do Crescent Blue, Blood Sable, Liar, and then do my kids' books. And then I got a couple more coming. Original characters: Flashwave, Silent Thunder, Zujak, and Ezra. Those are all my original characters I've made over the years. So I want to get their stories done first. And I have my Red Cloud Force. It's like my Red Cloud Force is my Power Rangers slash uh, Green Lantern type of
Okay.
unit in my Wakeverse. They're literally on Pluto. They protect the Milky Way galaxy. So yeah, so they're it's and my wife doesn't really like my Red Cloud Force characters, but I love them, and I already have the story done. It's going to be 24 pages, and then I have my glow stick standalone. That'll be my only standalone book that I do because I already have the story written for it, which is pretty cool. I did like a whole because I've been watching people do manga stories and Bleach. I love Bleach, and I wanted to try to do my own, one shot of kind of like a manga comic style book, and I have my own world of that. So in Glow Stick, it's going to be awesome. I like that one. It's going to have a lot of cool and unique things in it that I think people have seen before. So I'm going to try to get that one out next year. So Red Cloud Force will be next year, and so will Glow Stick. Because if Shape Master does good, I might turn around and do Kevin and Bob right after if people want another children's book for me. So that'll be those are the only two children's books I have so far. I don't know if I'll write any more because I want to see how these two do. My wife thinks Kevin and Bob will do really good because kids love aliens, so I might be lucky with that one.
Yeah, kids are definitely into aliens for sure.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
I mean you've got it's not like it's a small list of things. Children
yeah.
always have a good amount of things that they're,
Oh yeah, oh
their
yeah,
interest subjects vary, and sometimes by the day.
yeah. That is true. That is very true. And yeah, and
I,
what? Oh, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like it's one or the other. Like I remember when my nephew was young, it was either something different every other day, or it was I'm gonna be a fireman for 3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. It's true. Kids, they'll change on a dime for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much my plan. I'm just gonna do Shape Master, and I'm drawing. I'm sketching out my Red Cloud Force story right now. So I've got like I'm doing like 2 pages of sketching it each and every day, so I know what I want to do when I'm done drawing it.
So you're
And then I'll
drawing
have
you're drawing all of these books.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because like I said, I got burned a couple of times, and it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. And my wife told me she's like, "Honey, you're just getting better with time." So I was like, "Okay, I'll just sit down and do it myself." So yeah, I'm just gonna because Liar it's 50 pages and that one took forever. So I'm gonna try to do the 24-page route and see how that goes. See if people like it that way. Because the Blood Table was 40, great, great 40 pages. I love how I written that story. Took 9 years to get out finally. So thankful that last year Blood Table came to life and that people loved it. And
And you
so
delivered it like super fast. I was unexpectedly surprised because most people like their campaign's done. Maybe
yeah,
like a week or two later is when you get the digital copy. I think it was like the same day or the next day. I was like, what the hell? It was like,
yeah.
congratulations, it's been funded. And then I'm doing something else. And it was like, here's your digital copy. And I was like, wait, what? This just happened.
Yeah, it's because I pride myself on making sure my projects are done first before I launch them because I want people to get what I created quickly. I don't like when people have to sit and wait super long because I don't like to wait super long on books that I like to back. So I want to make sure I want to be as professional as possible and get people their stuff that they order because I don't want to waste people's time who put their money into my project. I don't think that's fair, and I think it's reasonable that you get what you pay for. So I try to make sure, since thankfully I have Procreate now, it helps me get my books done even faster, and I can edit and fix them anytime I want. So I just pride myself in trying to make sure that people get it within a month's time or two. So usually I pride myself within like a 4 month time span to have everything done ahead of time. So when I launch my project, I just go to mix them, get the stuff that I need, my posters, stickers, stuff like that, and have them at home ready to go. So I just pride myself in doing that.
Hey, that's a great approach. I mean,
Yeah, and
there's been so many campaigns for a lot of people, not even just myself, where it looks great, you
yeah,
buy in, and then it's like, oh, this thing happened, and this other thing cropped up, and something else is
yeah,
more money now,
yeah,
and it's like, well, now it's been 2 years, and where's my book?
yeah. I've seen a couple projects like that on Kickstarter. Like the project got funded and it's taken like years. And I'm like, that's insane. I don't know how Kickstarter allows these creators to take 2 years to stay on their platform. Like if you allow someone like that to stay, they're just going to continuously do that. I think that's wrong. Like 2 years is insane. Like to get funded and then have to make people wait years is it's unacceptable in my opinion. Like people
Yeah,
shouldn't be waiting years to get their book. That's
and
that's insane.
I'm of the mind that like I get that life happens, right? I'm fully like I completely
Yeah,
understand that. One of my favorite books behind me is called Scurry, and he did the first book, no problem, like it delivered. He did this, I think I want to say he did the second book. Maybe it was the second and third book together. However it was gonna come with the slipcase, right? So I was like, oh, okay, cool, bet. Like I'm bought in. So like
yeah,
I love the first one. And bought in, got the slipcase and everything. And then it was like delayed, but I was like, I check and there's an update. And he's like, hey, I'm in the hospital, like some shit, like physical issue, like I gotta be in a and I for me, I'm fully aware that the world, This is my first episode for a year.
Yeah.
Like the life happens, life continues to happen, whether or
Yeah.
not you got other shit to do. So like I'm fully aware of that, and I accept that as long as people communicate. You know what I'm saying? But there's been a situation for me, and I know for other
Yeah.
people as well,
Exactly.
where there's just nothing. There's nothing for like 6 months, and it's like, hey, sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
get it out. Like I am Facebook friends with one dude who I have a campaign. It was my first campaign that I ever backed in 2012. It still has not been delivered. Every time he posts
That's
his artwork,
insane. That's
every time he
crazy.
posts his artwork or he's like doing a project or something, and I just say, hey, that doesn't look like this, this project. Doesn't look like that.
Yeah, like, that's crazy.
And every year he
Yeah, like
tells
when
me,
I
oh,
did Liar,
it's coming this year. You're gonna be happy this year. And I'm like, okay.
that's nah, that nah,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah.
That's
And it's
that's
like he delivered all the extras, but not
yeah,
the book. And I was like,
yeah,
I would have cared less about the extras if you had delivered the book.
that's true. Yeah, I just pride myself. Like when I did Liar was already done, the first book I did, and it didn't fun. I was devastated because I was like, I have this book to give to people. And then I saw some artists or some other creators on Kickstarter who were funded, but they didn't even get their stuff out. And I was angry about that at first, but then I was like, you know what? Maybe Liar isn't ready for people yet. Maybe I need to, fix them and stuff. So I was like I said, as a first time creator, you get upset about, things that happen. And so I was just, people pick what they love and enjoy. And I think it's up to an artist who puts that stuff out to people to keep their word and say, hey, this project's funded, but I'm not done. Just be a man and say, hey, I'm not done with it. I don't know if I'm gonna be done with it, or at least I'll refund you guys or give you something, because
Right.
people shouldn't have to wait 12 years for stuff like that. That's unacceptable, and I don't think artists who do that should be on platforms if they're just gonna, take the people's money and then don't give them nothing in return. That's literally you're a thief at that point.
Yeah,
So once it's sad. It's sad that there's some people who, there's great projects and then they don't come through, and it's sad. It's really sad because there's a lot of good people who have, projects that are done and ready to go, and they don't get they don't get as much, love and recognition that they deserve for being done. And I think that's unacceptable to have people wait, because people spend their money on what they enjoy and what they think they want and what they like. So just give it to them. If you're gonna make people wait 30 days to, and beg them to help fund your project, at least be, honorable and deliver on what you promised.
and I'll tell you what, man, that having that mentality ensures that you're gonna keep doing great work and have great successful campaigns. I
Thanks,
mean,
man. I
just
appreciate it.
I mean, like you are on top of it. I got to tell you, there's a lot of people. I mean, I'm not going to call out any names, but like there's a lot of creators who are like frustrated with the fact that, oh, as a creator, you got to also be a marketer.
Yeah.
And but I got to tell you, man, you've been on top of it. You hit me up, and I was like, you know what? I hadn't even had my like return episode planned yet, and I was like, let's do it. Let's like this is the bump that I needed. This is the like motivation. Like I'll be honest with you. There's I got headphones here. I got like comics here. I still have comics on the floor. This is a mess. Like this is the best shot you're gonna get. I can't
That's all
turn this
right.
any direction. But I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it because I need to get back into it. Like we got to promote this project. Like this, so it's like it's a mutually beneficial thing, right? Like you want to promote and you know that you need to promote, so
Yep.
you hit me up because you know I do interviews, and that's all it took for me to be like, it's time for me to come back. It's time for me to do this. So like, and then the beauty of it is this is an easy edit. This can be up fucking whenever you want it. This can be up tonight. This can be up tomorrow. Like, so like
Yeah, man.
it's great to have this mentality because a lot of people they like put the book out and it's like I've seen people who put out
Yeah.
stuff that I'm like, man, I'm excited about this, but then I don't see them post. I don't see
Yeah.
them on anything. There's no because it's like I have like a comic book centric YouTube profile and like that's all I do. It's like where the podcast goes up on YouTube. That's what I use to interact with like comic book podcasts and channels and stuff. And I see people's people's like interviews and stuff when they go up on stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this person's doing a campaign. How come they're not, this channel's doing interviews right now. Like I see them post interviews every other week. Why aren't they on
Yeah,
the channel? Like,
and that's the other thing. When I did Liar, I didn't know the marketing part yet. And then I had a bunch of friends tell me, "Hey, there's people doing interviews and stuff if you want to get on." So it's like, if you want your stuff to get out there, you have to talk to people as well. You can't just be like, "Hey, post on Instagram, here's my book, please back it." You need to share it with people who love books just like you do and like art and stuff like that. You have to, I'm getting better at the way I'm talking to people and sharing my, story in my life. And it's just anytime someone says, "Hey, I can have you on," I just want to, hour their time, just tell them about what I've got going on. Cause, I might reach a stranger who's like, "Oh, this guy's got a book. I'll check it out." And which is cool. I've had people do that since I've been doing interviews these past few years. It's like, "Hey, man, I've seen your stuff on Kickstarter. I want to back it. How do I get it? Can I buy your book? How do I do something to get a part of it?" And so it's been a pleasure to be able to, get in these interviews whenever I can, just to share what I've got going on. Because I think a lot of artists who start need to do that. It may be nerve wracking at first, but if you try promote it by actually talking to people, you can actually get a lot more people to get your stuff as well. So if you sell your books, sell yourself as well, because people want to know who's behind the book. If people don't know
absolutely.
who's behind the book, they might not even back it regardless. So tell them who you are, share your journey. It's something that you can do easily. Talking's easy. So
Absolutely.
whenever
Like I said, like I said before, like your unique perspective is part of the story. It may not be in the text itself, but knowing that you're from Oklahoma, you might have somebody watch this or watch something else that you do, be like, "Oh, I want to sell. I want to support Oklahoma folks." Boom, like right there, and it's like just knowing that little bit, not even everything else. It's just like all these little details that go into who you are and why we as people back and support people. It all adds up. It all
Yeah.
adds up.
And crazy thing, you just said that about Oklahoma. The Tulsa Con, they actually reached out to me to be an artist for this year to be a part of the con. So it was like I didn't expect it. And the event coordinator for the Tulsa Con followed me and he wanted my book. So I sent him a copy of my book and he's like, "Hey man, I want to have you here as soon as I can in June
That's
and I think in
awesome.
August." So June
That's
and August, he
awesome.
said, he said, "I want you here in Tulsa, show your books. I can meet you and we can talk about your stuff." So it's like just that, like I said, that alone, if you just talk to people just for like 30 seconds, if they see your stuff and love it, you might, get to be able to be like, "Hey, come to this con, come to this one." Because last year I went to my first ever comic fest and it was amazing. And there's artists there that I never met before in my life that are friends with me now that have promoted my stuff as well. So it's been like a full come circle thing. Like it's nerve wracking to, want to put it out there to strangers and hope they love it. But if you do it, you never know who's going to be like, "Hey, I want to see your stuff."
That's what's up. That's the beauty of the space, honestly, is because the creators among us all want to support each other because we all know the importance of being supported.
Yeah.
And then those conversations then get the people who aren't necessarily creators, but they do like the stuff, they read the stuff. And it's just like having those little, like I said, having those little bit details of yourself get you opportunities, like getting the phone call to be like, "Hey, we want you at this show." That's great.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. You deserve
Yeah.
that. That's
Thanks, man.
fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife and I are excited for that. 'Cause she knows Tulsa like the back of her hand. So whenever we get the opportunity to go up there and do that, it's gonna be my first time to promote my books to, a bunch of people at a con. So I'm very nervous but excited because people in Tulsa will be able to see my work. So I'm very thankful for that. So yeah, and he lives in Owasso. So when I sent him my book, he was just like, "Man, this is an awesome book. Thank you for sending it to me." And just be able to he's already got me events list. He already gave me a friend request on Facebook. He added me to the events and stuff. So, just blessings happen, just random blessings I didn't expect. So I'm very thankful, the little curve in my life that I've taken to be able to, Liar didn't fund, but then, all this cool stuff has happened in 2025. So, I mean, things got happen full circle.
Definitely, man. Definitely. That's fantastic. So when is the campaign launching?
I plan to launch Shape Master on March 3rd is the day, and
March
I
3rd.
have a
Okay.
35 day Kickstarter days, and it's just gonna be for $300 because it's a small children's book, and if it gets past 300, 300 because Mixum, I love it when you order their book, it saves the book that you ordered, so you can order multiple copies of the book. And based on my last two Kickstarters, I've had like 40 backers. So I kind of like I did all the numbers behind the scenes. So $300 would get me where I needed to get all the stuff that I need, shipping and stuff. So it is $300 goal. If we get past that, people get some awesome goodies too. So it'll be my first children's book. March 3rd is when it's launching. A lot of cool posters and stuff like that. Bookmarks. Never made bookmarks before, but it was my first time, and I think people will like them.
We got to come up with something else besides bookmarks. I have a stack of bookmarks at this point. As a community, we need to come together and come up with something else.
Yeah, I think there's other stuff that I have in there as well. So I don't want to spoil it just yet until
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, we'll have that linked in the description or in the show notes if you're listening. And then, do you have a website?
I'm just on Facebook right now, facebook.com/WaitComics. So I have my Wait Comics page. I plan on having my website up, in the next couple months. People say I need to have one because they want to buy my stuff. So I need to get that in order. But I'm on Instagram.
I have 25 years of website experience. So if you need any support, you let me know.
I appreciate it, man. I definitely will reach out to you like next week and ask how I can get that going. I definitely want to do that because people want my stuff and I want to be able to just straight give it to them if they want it.
That's what's important. Having all those avenues of getting the stuff to the people is the most important. Because it's lowering that barrier to entry.
Yeah, because I have my Teespring store. People want to buy shirts and stuff that I have of my artworks over there. And I'm just on Instagram and Twitter at Write a Show, and I'm on YouTube at Write a Show too, and I post my art over there as well. So I'm almost on everything else. I just need I need a website. So I got to start getting that put together.
Dope. Like I said, we'll have everything linked down below. We'll have that linked in the show description. And make sure you follow and support. March 3rd is the launch. Make sure you're on that notify page and get you a copy of the comic and of all the comics. I'm sure you're gonna have all the other ones in there too, right?
Sure, if people want them, I'll give them all.
Yeah, put bonus add-ons. Gotta have those add-ons.
That's an awesome idea. Thanks, man. You gave me something else to think about.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me, man. I appreciate your time. I appreciate hearing your story, and I hope that you are gratefully successful with this campaign and all future campaigns. I want to hear about these shows. When you hit these shows, I want to hear a report. I want to see how you do.
I will, man. I appreciate it. I know earlier today we were supposed to have this talk. Life happens, and I tried to reach you when I got home. But thank you for sending me that email and saying, "Hey, we can do it later." So it worked out, man. Thank you for having me. It was awesome to share my stuff finally with you. Thank you for backing my projects as well. I don't forget people who back my stuff. I always appreciate people who do.
Definitely, my pleasure. That's gonna be it for this one, folks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
I'm worried about the cat, man. I'm a big slugger like the Batman. Hit up Halle Berry for a CAT scan. I am that man.